My name is Victorio Salic, and I'm part of the Lebab group of restaurants in Bucharest. Lebab was born in London in 2015, and with our very good friends from there, we decided that Romania, especially to start with Bucharest, has a place for a modern Middle Eastern or contemporary type of restaurant with a high focus on the food and the cocktails and the atmosphere provided. We thought that, and we saw that Romania has amazing local ingredients and products and a lot of beautiful places to offer for also tourists and local residents. We also started a secondary brand during the COVID pandemic. We noticed that takeaway was a necessary part of the business, and we thought, what could we deliver that is tasty but also is good for travel? So we took one of our favorite parts of our menu, what clients really loved, which is the Lebab fried chicken. So we said, why don't we spin that off and create our own, let's say, fried chicken sub-brand, where we take free-range chicken and prepare everything fresh from scratch so that it's as tasty as possible. So kind of like a high-level KFC. So now currently we have two restaurants, one in Charles de Gaulle, which opened recently, where we're sitting now, and the original one in downtown, vis-a-vis the CEC Bank. The third one is the spin-off restaurant, which is the Lebab fried chicken brand that we're currently opening in Amze, as well as a food truck, which we're very excited to be sending to Vama Veche this summer. I think when we first opened, there were many more differences than the other restaurants, because a lot of restaurants have a very big menu and they basically offer every client anything that they'd like, whether it's from spaghetti to steaks or to sushi or spring rolls, and all mixed up in a very large menu. What differentiated us initially was our almost upsettingly short menu. We had a high focus on design, using a world-class designer, Angus Buchanan, to help us set a really beautiful atmosphere and at the time very avant-garde for the market. Otherwise, we try to source as locally as we can, so whatever we can find that is seasonal or local. Almost weekly, we sit down with the team, with the head chefs and front of house, and look at the menu in front of us with a pen and start crossing things out or circling things that are going very well, or finding out what we could improve. And this kind of relentless feedback cycle is something that I think still differentiates us. We are trying to be more green. From the beginning we've tried, but now we're implementing a few other things, like getting rid of the paper menus, and trying to, when we're choosing the ingredients, not only to choose them based on their taste or availability, but also trying to make sure that they're ethically sourced and aren't part of the problem, let's say. I think it's very important for businesses nowadays to have a strong connection to their community. I don't think we're doing as good of a job as we should. I think that we want to improve on that. I do think we've done a decent job for now, but it's something that I think going forward we want to be able to do more and more. Currently, the community we've created is quite a lot of open-minded people that are interested in new ingredients or new dishes, that want to explore when they're going to a restaurant, not just to eat what they're used to, but to see some words on that menu that they haven't seen before. What helps us have the community is our great social media team that's making sure that we get the right pictures, always looking at the restaurant, going into the kitchen and telling the story of the dishes. I think it's very important to listen to our team when they are letting us know about what the clients like and don't like. It's part of the feedback process I mentioned earlier. Obviously, when people repost stories or they make posts, that's a very clear signal to us about what they like or what they don't like. So I think just paying attention to that really helps to engage with the community. And of course, as a small business owner, you have to stay connected to it. So spend a lot of time around the clients, with the clients, speak to them, notice. Even if you don't speak with them, you can notice their expression. If they took a bite of something and they really liked it, that's a very satisfying feeling. And it's also a very clear signal that you got something right. So do more of that. And then obviously the opposite, if they don't seem to like something, try to figure out why not. And if it happens over and over again, well, that's why we look at the menu and let's improve it. If they're not paying attention to the client's wishes or trends, they're going to start losing out because other businesses are. So this feedback cycle I mentioned earlier is probably the biggest value you can get from your clients, noticing their likes and dislikes. And that really helps to give you a direction for your product. When we started a business, we thought that we knew what the clients want. And if we stubbornly stuck with that, I don't think we would have been able to develop or grow. Instead, in the first 12 months of Lebab in Bucharest, we must have made approximately 18 changes to the menu. That doesn't mean the full menu, but some parts of it. And that was purely because of listening to the clients and noticing which plate is coming back with what component not eaten. I mean, it's a very clear sign. There have been recipes, there have been cocktail ideas or wine list ideas, just by talking to the clients and figuring out what they're missing or what they'd like to see more of. Most recently, the really cool thing that happened for us is, unfortunately, with the Ukraine crisis, we asked for volunteers to come help make some sandwiches for the refugees arriving in Gara de Nord. And we thought maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 people would say that they have some time. It was 80 people signing up within 2 days. And we didn't even have enough space to execute, so we had to improvise and spread out the schedule of who's going to come help and when. So that was a really beautiful thing to see. The one thing that I think for any entrepreneur that is difficult is you might have your business idea or what you want to do. Maybe you're passionate about what you want to do, but you might forget or consider that bureaucracy or paperwork or all these things are small or not a big deal. I definitely think a city that supports local businesses should trust that the business owners are just trying to do a business and not trying to be sneaky or anything. It's to think of us as a contributing factor to the growth of the city rather than sometimes looked as people who are trying to find a trick or something like that. Having said that, of course, during the pandemic, we did get the help from the government for staff that we weren't able to keep on full employment. So for the furlough, for the chômage. So that was a very positive thing that enabled us to survive. It helped us to survive. Another thing which I'd love to see is the legalization of the tipping system, which currently just happens mostly with cash because you don't really have a good process by which to give the tips to the clients if it's coming by card. Make sure you have a passion for it and don't forget that there are also administrative and bureaucratic things you have to do if you want to have your own business. So be ready for that. And I think most important than anything is listen to your market, listen to your customers, see if you do have a product marketplace fit. Don't be afraid that you have to change your business plan. It's going to happen and it's fine. So be ready to adapt.